Today, we are diving into Arnold Schwarzenegger's blueprint for success. And you know what? It's surprisingly simple. Just two rules. But these are the rules that took him from a tiny village in Austria to becoming a global icon. So let's get right into it.
Arnold kicks things off with a pretty tough truth. He says most people are just drifting. And if you don't have a clear destination in mind, well, you're never really going to end up anywhere on purpose. This idea, this problem of drifting, is the foundation for his entire philosophy. So you really have a choice, right? You can drift through life, letting the currents pull you wherever, or you can actually sit down and design a blueprint. And Arnold, he is the ultimate architect of his own life. While everyone else was just going with the flow, he was drawing up plans, even when he was just a kid. And that brings us to his first rule, the absolute bedrock of everything he's ever done. You have to have a vision. So what does he actually mean by vision? This isn't some vague, daydreamy kind of thing. No, it's a crystal clear, high-definition picture of where you want to end up. Think of it like this. It's the difference between saying, I want to go on a trip, and plugging an exact address into your GPS. For Arnold, that clarity was everything. It was the fuel in his engine every single day. Just look at his own story. He was born right after World War II in this small Austrian town. His parents' vision for him was, simple and safe. Stay here, get a normal job, have a normal life. But Arnold felt something totally different. He had this deep down feeling that he was meant for something big. And then when he was just 11 years old, he saw a documentary about America, and boom, that big, vague feeling suddenly had a name and a place. Okay, so that vision for America was huge, but it was still just a destination. He still needed the map, right? He needed the turn-by-turn directions to get there. And then one day, almost like fate, he walked past a shop window and he found it. He saw a magazine with his hero, the bodybuilder Reggie Park, on the cover. And as he started reading about Park's life, it was like everything just clicked into place. This became his exact blueprint. Step 1, become the best bodybuilder in the world. Step 2, use that fame to break into movies. And step 3, use the movies to get rich and famous. Just like that, his massive dream wasn't a dream anymore. It was a checklist. And you can just feel the power of that in his own words. He talks about this incredible relief, this sense of purpose. All of a sudden, the insane work, we're talking 5-6 hours a day in the gym, it wasn't a chore. It was just ticking off step 1. Every single rep was moving him closer to that vision. Now let's contrast Arnold's passion with this pretty staggering number. He often brings up this statistic that 74% of people in America are unhappy at work. And his diagnosis for why? It all comes back to a lack of vision. I mean, just look at that. For nearly 3/4 of people, work isn't a passion. It's just something they have to do. They're drifting, not driving. This is the exact trap Arnold was so determined to escape, and his vision was the key. It just proves that a clear vision turns work from something you have to do into a mission you get to do. Okay, so you've got your vision, you've got your blueprint, you're fired up, but the second you start to build, a whole new obstacle shows up: other people. And this brings us to Arnold's second rule, which is every bit as important as the first. You have to ignore the naysayers. Seriously, at every single stage of his career, Arnold was surrounded by a chorus of no. When he said he wanted to be a bodybuilding champ, people told him that's impossible. When he wanted to be an actor, they said his body was way too big and his accent would be a career ender. The word he heard over and over and over again was just no. But this is where Arnold's mindset is just on another level. He basically learned to translate their negativity. He trained his brain to hear the exact opposite of what they were saying. So when they said no, he heard yes. When they said it's impossible, he heard it's possible. He didn't argue with them. He just used their doubt as fuel. And the proof is, well, it's in the movies. Take Conan the Barbarian. The director later said this about him. Remember that too muscular body that agents called a liability? It ended up being so perfect for the role that the director said if Arnold didn't exist, they would have had to literally build a Conan. His supposed weakness was actually his unique, can't-be-replicated strength. And then it happened all over again with his accent. For years, everyone told him it was a huge problem. Then comes The Terminator, and director James Cameron said that Arnold's robotic, non-American accent was the exact thing that made the character so scary and so iconic. Without that accent, the whole movie might not have worked.
So the huge lesson from rule number 2 is this. Your so-called weaknesses, the very things the naysayers love to point out, those are often the things that make you special. If you can just learn to tune out their noise, those liabilities can become your greatest assets. All right, so let's boil all of this down. What's the main takeaway from Arnold's incredible journey?
It all comes down to these 2 steps. First, get a crystal clear vision. Know exactly where you're going. And second, when people, and they will, show up to tell you it can't be done, you just smile, mentally translate their no into a yes, and get back to work. And that leaves us with one final thought, really a question for you. According to Arnold, the answers to these 2 simple questions could really define the rest of your life. So, what is your vision? And who are the naysayers you need to start ignoring today?